This is the Uprising Revival channel. Welcome to today's show. Yesterday, I uploaded a few videos and I had mentioned how there were going to be bigger false flags coming, and thus there was a bigger false flag that came. And again, we're seeing the same behaviors by both sides in what we're told is a war, where they're just kind of like we see in America with all the politics. Everyone's shrugging their shoulders and pointing fingers, and the people continue to believe the propaganda being pushed. Now, I can't show you the news clips. I could show you those over on the website, Uprising Revival, where you could see how the left-wing media is blaming one side, the right wing's blaming the other. This is exactly how this whole thing works. Okay, they're dividing people on politics. We literally have citizens who are siding with one country versus the other instead of saying, hey, you know what? I'm suspicious of the governments in both of these strips of land, and maybe the people should band together and rise up against them because they're doing a full-on assault on citizens, because that is what's going on. It's a full-on assault on citizens. As I titled the video, okay, this is side of civilians from the globalists, from the world order. And of course, all of that ties back into the land that's claiming to be innocent of everything, Bagelville. So while we have this, let's look at some of the side stories. And of course, this is a tragic story. You know, this does not mean, when I'm making fun of the war and the media and how they're covering this, I'm not saying that civilians aren't under attack. I'm saying that they're manufacturing a war around an assault on civilians, on their homes, on their land. It's no different than they do in any other country, and it's no different than they even do when they create false flags here in America, right? They create a story around a story. Sometimes there's not even real events that occur. At a lot of these schools, they make them up. They get their DMLAs involved. They get their child secret society members involved. And people out there don't even want to believe that there's DMLAs, there's Job's daughters, that there's actually children who are indoctrinated in these secret societies who act these events out for them as well, because they're in on it. They're in the brotherhood. So this story is so unbelievable. You hear about this hospital, right? This hospital gets blown up. Sounds like it was obviously a controlled demolition. Just like most of these appear to be controlled demolitions, they're using specific spots, again, like they do with a lot of the events in America, right? I've talked about how they always use somewhere that they want you to be able to relate to. A mall, a school, a concert, a grocery store. Done by design, because these are normal places that people go in their day-to-day life. They want them to feel threatened. Here you're going to hear about schools, and there was a story about a school that was hit, but they claim there weren't kids in there. But you're going to hear stories like this because it's going to garner anger from people. What better place to choose other than a school would be a hospital, right? Where there's innocent people who are not involved in this, who just got completely annihilated, right? So when you hear a story like this, that's when you start to go, oh, okay, let's see what the narrative is out there. So the narrative is finger pointing. With the technology we have in today's world, we can't get a clue as to who fired it. Well, of course not, because it's a you did it, which is every other narrative we see going on right now. Oh, it's the Democrats' fault. Oh, it's the conservatives' fault. They're mean and bitter. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And everybody goes back and forth. Oh, we don't have the intel to be able to figure it out. So each country then comes out, then blames the other country, saying we didn't do it, right? Fox News, of course, wants to take the conservatives and lead them in a war against Muslims, because most of the conservatives are Christian and don't have any clue whatsoever about what Bagelville is and who they are and what the Bible's referencing. Somebody comments yesterday and they said, you know, use the verse again, not interpreting Bagelville properly. And I just commented back and I said, what did you read about Bagelville in the footnotes of the Bible? Or did you actually read about spiritual bagel? You know, did you read about it? Okay, did you realize that I'm using the code words because you're not allowed to use the actual words, because that's how protective they are, not because they're protective because they're God's people. They're protective because if people figure out who they are and what they believe, then this would be over quickly, because everybody who's divided by via race, gender, etc. would rise up against these people, because their teachings literally say that we all should be wiped off the face of the earth. And it's no different than if you saw a serial killer who had a notepad at his home, it's targeting specific individuals. You try to stop him before he went after these people, right? If there was a serial killer and there was a murder and they were like, we figured out who it was and we went to his house and he wasn't there, but we found a notepad and had this list of names on it. You'd say, we got to find those people and protect those people before this guy gets them. And then at the same time, we need to find him and arrest him, right? Okay, well, in this case, all of us are on their list, in their books, to annihilate and wipe us out. So maybe we should point a finger at them? And you could say, well, that's anti-this, anti-that, right? These words they make up to protect themselves. Well, why is it they're allowed to have that in their teachings where it literally says that they're going to annihilate us? And then at the same time, we see them in the middle of what is looking like a massive side, right? So You have that story going on with the hospital, and one of the narratives was I was laughing, and I'm trying not to laugh because there are civilians attacked, but I'm laughing at the stuff that they're saying and the actors they're throwing out on TV. One of the narratives was literally that I need a code word for them, but let's just say G dot 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 dot, 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 dot Hod, right? Let's say it that way. That these people specifically were trying to shoot a missile into Bagelville. That's what the claim was, right? And the missile fell short. It didn't have enough height underneath it, right? Because this is apparently what happens now in war. We're actually going to believe this. This is how dumb our society is, that you could actually fire a missile with the technology that they have, and it could miss the target so much so that it fell short of where it was supposed to go, and they hit their own hospital. Oopsies! Are you joking me? Now we're seeing riots and protests, and I'll guarantee you that some of the people over in probably both lands, but specifically in Palestine, they're seeing all this stuff and they realize that their government is in cahoots with these people, because they could probably see, hey, you know what? How is there even an argument that maybe it was our own missile? Huh? They're probably saying, why did we even go after them in the first place? What's the conflict over? Huh? They're starting to see it. And I think that the riots out there that they're putting on TV, they're trying to say that these people are angry and they want to go after Bagelville. They're showing them burn the flag. But the flag doesn't represent the people. It represents the state. Okay? And they know that that state's government is the world government, probably. I would assume that they're aware of this, and that's why a lot of the people are against that state. And then we get all the propaganda like, oh, they're against them because their beliefs, etc. That's what they try to push onto all of us. But I think the reality is they realize this world order and what these people are trying to do and what their books teach, right? So they're over there, and they're probably also now protesting against their own government because they probably realize that they're doing this together, because this was, oh, they just attacked for no reason in the night, right? No reason, they just went over there. There was nothing leading up to it, well, other than the basic conflict, right? But they just happened to choose the right time to do it because their defense was down and they weren't paying attention, and they ran through and did all this stuff. Give me a break. Give me a break. And then I love this other narrative where we have Biden flying over there. Okay, here's a guy again, and this plays into the narrative. This is done by design. How here in America, with all this stuff going on with Ohio, with Maui, that these people take their time or don't even show up at these places, but they'll fly out immediately. What's even more funny is that literally, if this is a war going on, where there's missiles flying and they're landing in the wrong spots and they can't even control where they're going, why would the president be going there? Well, he's going there because he's safe, because this is a controlled demolition. If anything is announced in the news that does happen to him, that'll be by design, which means he'll get his permanent vacation. And he'll probably not have to travel anywhere, because most of these people, when they go on permanent vacation and vanish out of the limelight and they tell you they're dead, they end up right where Biden is right now. No, no coincidence there, right? That guy Epstein, what's his name? You know what I mean? He's over there. Where do you think they all go? You think they whack him? No, they don't need to whack him. We live in a stupid time period where people just believe everything they hear. So Biden goes over there. I love this story, right? This is the same thing we saw in Crane. They're like, it's a war zone. Then you see like 90-year-old Nancy Pelosi walking the streets, right? You see Bono walking the streets. It's a joke. Think about a literal war zone. If I was like, whoa, think about these people do like reenactments of the Civil War. Not to say that that's a real history either of exactly what happened there, but let's just say, right? You're going to reenactment of that and you see like, oh yeah, and they fired from here and they did that. You're like, whoa, man, you got to like really high, duck for cover, make sure, no, let's fly people into the middle of a battlefield, our president, right? And then he sits down, and what does the president say? The president uses terminology saying, oh, well, in regards to what happened at that hospital, quote, this is from the president of the United States, the other team appears to have caused that. Oh, the other team. Oh, okay. So now they show you their quote unquote like identity politics in a sense. No, the other team did it, right? Because this is all divided. Like it's no different than sports teams. That's how you see people identify with Democratic Party and the Conservative Party. They could do no wrong in their eyes, right? Instead of saying, hey, you know what? I'm a conservative. I'm a little suspicious as to how they're not doing anything in Congress to stop all this chaos that's going on. But just common sense would stop from happening, like all the gender stuff, right? I mean, any men in Congress would just stop it. And they'd be like, you wouldn't even address this stuff. Really? I've said that over the years. It's like, why would you even you're having meetings in Congress where you're talking about if men could have babies. The fact that you're addressing this is an utter insanity, which proves that the Republicans are in on it even more so than just the basic facts of the secret societies that we know. Why would you even address it? This should be dismissed. It shouldn't even be a topic. It's utter insanity, but we know why they're doing it, right? So obviously with both sides controlled, we can see where this is headed, where certain people are going to side with Bagelville, and certain people are going to side with the other, and everyone's going to point a finger and blame one another. And that's pretty much the global script, right? They're taking people, instead of the people rising up against the world government and the globalists and the Klaus Schwabs of the world and the Netanyahu-know-whats and the Bidens and the Trumps, all of them. Instead of doing that, it's now turned into, college campuses, people who are pro-Bagelville are fighting on the campuses with people who are pro this. Instead of going, hey, why don't we put all our energy and stop this from happening? Because guess what? There aren't really two militaries fighting one another. There's two militaries attacking and killing civilians on purpose and then telling you, oopsies, our defense was down and they came in and annihilated everybody. Oopsies, our missile went the wrong direction and blew up, of all things, a hospital. It didn't land in a field somewhere. No. It targeted a hospital and annihilated it and killed everyone in the hospital. Oh, that's an accident too. How many more accidents do people need to see before they wake up and go, okay, this isn't an accident, this is done by design? Why do you think they're so hell-bent on silencing people like me, right? And not people like Ben Shapiro, these alt-right people, because they keep you in the hive. They keep you divided. Now look how they're riling up their conservative audience to be pro-bagels. Instead of going, all these citizens over there, kids are being killed on both sides. Okay, that could be any one of us, and it will be at some point in the future, because we know a false flag's coming here with the border. Now we're just seeing this revealed to us with the border. I mean, again, I talked about that recently, how it's been about, they're letting people in so they vote Democrat because all the illegals will vote Democrat. No, they're letting people in so when they destroy us from within, they could say, oops, the Democrats didn't close the border. Look, all these people get in. Oh, well, instead of going, wait a minute, the government's flying in these Mossad agents, et cetera, so that they can blow up our buildings. Oh, yeah, well, maybe we should go after them now. Nope, it'll constantly and it'll always be until it ends. Everybody pointing a finger at each other and them silencing people like me who would actually unite both sides of this, even though the teachings of one side are disgusting and despicable. It doesn't mean every single person who, is a you-know-what. Because again, I've talked about this. There's people, there's rabbis out there who speak up against the state of Bagelville. Okay, and there's a difference between them. There's a difference in the teachings. Okay, they're using Blankenism, starts with a Z. We'll call them Zoolanderism. I don't know what to call it. We'll call it Bagelism. They're using Bagelism as a way to get away with bringing in a new world order. I mean, that's what Karl Marx teaches. That's what Pike was talking about. Using it because they have all these walls built up where you can't question them, and they're always victims, right? And next thing you know, we're going to wake up with a new world order, and it's going to be because of these people. So anyway, some of these stories should just make people go, all right, something's up. Why would we keep flying presidents and stuff into these situations? If it's a war zone, it's as bad as they say, and I'm not saying it's not bad, but it's a demolition that's going on. You're flying the president into this? The same guy who wouldn't even go to Ohio or any of these other places in our country? Oh, you're flying him in. And what is that going to resolve? Oh, they're talking peace and stuff. Wouldn't he be a target then for these people? If this was really going on, if you were in this militant group, wouldn't you be like, we should go after one of these people? Because they're the big leader, they would send a message. Same with the press I talk about, right? It doesn't make sense because it's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to herd you. And it's supposed to make you think that a war's going on when the only war going on is governments against civilians. Governments against civilians. Everybody needs to get that through their head. The governments are rogue and they've turned on the citizens. The civilians are under attack. That's what's going on. And people need to be aware of it. So most of the videos I'm doing on this topic are up over on the website Uprising Revival. Whether it's the crisis acting, whether it's, the bravery of the news media people who are in the streets while war, nothing that makes any sense. And common sense would show us that this is all staged. And of course, even people picking up human legs and placing them next to bodies and taking pictures. It's unbelievable. And they get away with it in plain sight because we're at a point with 5G, with just the thought process of most of these people, that there is no thought process. So they can get away with this stuff. Nobody has questions. Nobody's suspicious. Everybody's just like, oh, yeah, that seems organic and natural. Huh? It seems organic and natural that a missile that was sent from this, this militant group just went whoosh. What did it do? It just, oopsies, I pressed the wrong button. And oops, of all things for it to hit, it hit a hospital. So that won't anger anybody. I mean, give me a break. When are people going to wake up and realize that this is strategic? This is a control. This has been in their blueprint. We've been yelling about it for years, and people still think we're conspiracy theorists, that the government's gone rogue. Because they don't know how intel agencies work. They don't know who, they just hear stories. Oh, they're funded by oil. Oh, they're funded by oil, right? All the countries of the world just don't want to wipe these people out because, they have underground tunnels. Oh, everyone's just allowing them to do all this, build up military base. Oh, we just left our military. Those things are all narratives to make this make sense to you. Oh, we left everything in Afghanistan. No wonder that they have all these weapons to do this type of stuff. They do all those seed planting things so that you don't get suspicious of how they have this military type of technology, how this is all happening, so to speak. When common sense would say, how is this happening? Why haven't these people been wiped out? If this has been going on since the 11th day of September with these militant groups, why don't we just take them out quick with the technology that we have and the firepower we have? Oh, right. Because then there wouldn't be a boogeyman to blame all this on to herd in a new world order. It's unreal. So my uncensored videos will be available on the website, Uprising Revival. Highly recommend people join. It's $2.99 a day to keep the trolls out. I just did a video on another channel, which just proves that people are willing to pay to come over to the website so that they can get info on what I'm talking about and then report me. Like they're going to report me to the police, or like I even care if they did and something was to happen, because then I'll go to prison and I'll rile up the people there. And then maybe we'll actually have a literal uprising. I'm just kidding. What's that word, uprising? I don't know what it means. Anyway, folks, over on the website, exclusive content. And make sure you sub to my backup channels if you have not yet. I will continue to cover this with my logo on screen because it censors the algo anytime I talk about and show articles. Even the pictures go through the filter. I did the video on the tunnels and the people in the tunnels pretty much going, don't take a picture of me. Huh? How are there people taking pictures of you in a tunnel? And you have weapons in your hand. Why don't you just annihilate them then if you don't care about anybody and you're willing to take out children and babies? Oh, the photographer was fair game. You couldn't take him out because it'd be a hate crime or a, war crime. Give me a break. They wouldn't even let me put the picture up in the video without flagging it because all these articles go through all these filters with YouTube, et cetera, and then they flag it for review to make sure that there aren't videos like this talking about and pointing out the ridiculousness of all of it. So that's why all those videos are over on the website. And that's why here, when I talk about this topic, I have to put the logo on screen. But I'm sure you could piece it together and imagine it. But when I need to use clips, it's annoying. But thankfully, I have the website so I could do that. So hope to see you on the website. Make sure you sub the other channel. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless all of you, as always, and your families.